Hey, brother.
What up, dude?
Nothing much, man. How's it going tonight?
Hump Day Wednesday. Going well, going well. It's a little still, kind of still. Like there's no. It's been really cool lately, but tonight there's no wind, man. It's
Oh, yeah.
I know the North Shore, the big waves, the swell came in, but Wailo Beach, and I posted a picture the other morning. I had to stop on the road just to take a picture. That sunrise was coming up. It was so beautiful. The water was like a lake, and
Well, I get him.
you see it, man.
Yeah.
Okay. But other than that, man, it's cool. It's busy day at work. Trying to. Oh, damn! You'd share 'em. I will. Okay. Yeah, I say kind of behind. I'm like the state. I'm a little bit behind. Uh, but let me get caught up real quick. Let me get caught up real quick here. Yeah, you heard them. All right. Anyway, welcome everybody to Hump Day Wednesday with Mel and Charlie. Appreciate you guys coming back
Oh, yeah.
as you always do. And lot of stuff happening here on the Garden Island today. We're making national news, of course, all the local news. The recent arrest of the two people that came in knowing that they were positive. That's all over the national news.
Hmm.
Of course, the fact that we are today was the first day of our mandatory 14-day quarantine. That's all over the local news. Our mayor was on. What was this here? Sam Shirai, Hoosier says you're running for office. Hoosier. Who's that? Sam. Sam. Tell Hoosier the election was November. Power ready. Um, not sure what he's trying to say, but I really don't know what he's trying to say. I think the election, but unless when is the power the election, Charlie? It is power, right? I thought had inauguration yesterday. I sure as hell wasn't there, which means I never run for office. I don't know who's your. Maybe he should come on our show. Maybe Gary should come on our show to get educated. No, not on as a guest, but watch so he can be educated and informed. I don't get it, but whatever. No, I'm not running for. It's 2 years away, man. 2 years away. I deliberately didn't run this time. Future plans, hey, there was future. Adam Mojak is asking, who is Hoosier? Future plans, I want to be a pilot. I actually want to be the first Portuguese from Hawaii to go into space on a rocket. There's a lot of things. There's future plans, but right now, the issue at hand right now is COVID. The issue at hand right now is the fact that the mainland is blowing up, the fact that many of the states that our travelers come from are blowing up. And what can we do? Because we don't have a governor that can create statewide policy and protocol. He's kind of leaving it up to the mayors, but he's not letting the mayors do what they believe is right. So we're messed up. That's where we're at right now. And we keep talking about wearing your masks. We keep talking about social distancing, doing our thing, staying away from gatherings. We talk about that every single night. Um, and yet you have a segment of the community that's very frustrated with the 14-day quarantine. You have a segment of the community that is very appreciative of our mayor for doing that. And honestly, Charlie, and we talked about this, we honestly see both sides, and there's no right or wrong side. I think if you heard Derek on the on the news today, they did an interview on the Star Advertiser. It was a quite lengthy one, and it's you can find it at the Star Advertiser Facebook page. He shared in pretty much detail why he did what he did, and it really came after the second rejection for the quarantine second test solution that he had proposed to the governor, which got rejected. At that point, based on the numbers of cases, and he spelled it out quite well, that we cannot afford to let the virus take hold here on Kauai, and there was no other mechanism in place. And I agree with him. And yes, I know I got a lot of visitor industry friends that are very upset for me saying that, but I don't know what else option you had, knowing the way this virus works. So that's kind of where we're at today. There was a bunch of protesters out in Lihui at the round building, not at the county building, not at the normal place, but they're at the round building, the mayor's office, the mayor's building. I didn't see it because we were sent to Kapa to go work today, but I did see pictures. There were a bunch of people, no masks, no social distancing, all uh, protesting against the 14-day rule. And again, I'll say it again. Yeah, Jane, the mayor did an excellent job on this morning's interview. I agree. It was well done. And the thing is, it straight from the heart. It is not obviously he didn't have a piece of paper. Everything was just straight from the heart. And he understands the consequences that he's facing from the public that thinks it's not a good idea. But my point is this: as far as the protesting, and I've said it before, I fully support protesting. I fully support the opportunity to go over there and voice your opinions one way or the other. But we're in a pandemic and we need to wear a mask and we need to social distance. So I thought it was quite disrespectful, that part of it. But as far as the protesting, fully support.
I think, for me, I've always said it to the viewers: we just inform and educate. For me, I see both sides. Let you folks decide. But today was very telling. State of Iowa, federal lawsuit against the governor, Tyson Foods, because they had because of the way those factory workers were handled, the ones that died in the factories, because there were not enough care was taken to prevent the COVID spread in the factories. So now they're all getting sued. And the governor did not take a proactive role, and he's named in a lawsuit. I was, I was like, oh boy, anybody from Hawaii watching that? Oh well. So one is not immune from that from any kind of lawsuit that I see, and if it happens, it happens. But I would like to say one thing. I feel for the hotel workers, but I asked myself. I sat alone, and my wife had asked me, what's the matter? And I said, let me ask you this. And then I retracted. I said, no, I don't like talk about it. She goes, no, I've never seen you like that before. And I said, well, if it was me, if it was me, and somebody got me upset enough, and maybe that's why I'm not into politics, but if they got me upset enough that they never like my decision that I made, then I said, fine, I'll open them up. You guys get sick, no come crying to me, because that's what you wanted. And I ain't gonna stop it. And maybe that's the reason why I'm not in politics, because I probably would have gone that route. And I just there's no winners in this thing. But I know what our capabilities are and whether we can jump fast enough ahead. Dr. Berman said it quite clear. And she's handled pandemics before and in other virus spreads, and she said that the numbers were telling only because the way it rose so quickly, and that's what made her aware that this could be a problem. And until she said that, I was like, okay, we had a case here, case there, but then you're right. I mean, if for those of the people out there that don't follow the cases on Kauai, you realize after a while how many cases we do have. And you know the question will always be, well, who's going to jump ahead of it to try to slow it down? Who's going to be working? I'm pretty sure if it gets bad, I mean, case in point, there's been cases that I've responded to the hospital because not enough workers in one of because it's not a hidden secret. My company has the contract for the two of the hospitals, so we had to jump in, and that's part of our contract. But that this just tells you if the workers get burnt out, that's what we'll be faced with. You cannot expect everybody to just stay there and you know work your okole off after giving so much warnings, and people still fail to heed those warnings. And I think that's the scary part of this whole scenario. And if you're one of the lucky ones that outruns it, okay, hey, kudos to you. But like they say before, right? Monkeys fall out of trees too. So it's just when your number is up, your number is up. And we got there's just too much kapunas that I worry about. That's what my whole feeling is. Too much kapunas on this island.
Yeah, you don't have to look very far to see how quickly things can turn around with COVID. You don't have to look far. Yeah, you got to look across the Pacific Ocean. But we saw this back in what was it, August here in Hawaii? We
Yep.
saw what happened and how quick this thing can turn. Now, Kauai doesn't have the luxury of the major cities with the hospital beds and ICU units. And I know a lot of people have been posting, it's been 9 months. How come Derek never put up more hospital facilities and ICU beds? Well, first of all, and this is in no way meant to punt, but the state is the Department of Health. The state runs the Department of Health, not the county. There's no way the county has the funds and the resources to go build a hospital or expand the hospital. The second part of that is, and we talk about this so often, is that even if we had 20 more ICU beds just magically appeared, let's say a donor came in and said, hey, here's $100 million, go build however many ICU beds. We don't have the personnel. Charlie just talked about a problem that we're having right now with resources, staffing resources. We just don't have the people. You saw Kapiolani today. The nurses are out there demonstrating the way they're being treated, and the fact that they're being forced to reuse masks and these things supposed to be single use when you work in a COVID wing. You cannot be keeping the mask and things like that. And those are the kinds of problems we're going to face uh, if this virus, or should this virus pick up steam. And the thing is, it won't take much for Kauai. And I don't know why it's so difficult for people to understand that if we don't get a handle of it, then it's devastating. And so while I appreciate and I empathize with those that are facing, and it's not just hotel workers. You got restaurants, you got attractions, you got air tours, all of these rental cars, all of these agencies, all of these organizations, all of these businesses that are being affected. And I empathize with them. But I honestly, I try to put myself in Derek's shoes and try to figure out what else could have been done. I don't see what else could have been done. The other option was to keep what we had, but we saw that wasn't working.
Hmm.
Kevin is asking, why not a 5 to 7 day quarantine with a test? Because the governor said no. That's why. And that's the problem that we're facing, because while we have a mayor who supposedly is in charge of us during an emergency proclamation, we have an overriding rule, which I disagree with, and I don't think is legal, but who am I?
Hmm.
But he has an overriding rule that says the mayors cannot do anything unless you get the governor's permission. So, I'd love, what are the options? And I guess what I'm interested to hear from the people out there, what other options are there for our mayor to do? Uh, he can't create more bids. And I don't like that reactive model either. I don't like, and that's kind of what Lieutenant Josh Green's direction was, right, Charlie? All along, that's what he said. Well, after he made the switch, after he flipped, but he always would say, the main thing is we have the capacity to treat these sick people. Well, no, we don't want the sick people to treat. That's reactive. Why? And Derek is being proactive, and a lot of people are frustrated. But I don't see any other option that he had. We cannot do quarantine hotels. You cannot put ankle bracelets on them. There's nothing we can do. We sit back and we let them come in and we let them infect, and then we deal with the sick and we deal with the dead. That doesn't work for me anyway. That's just my opinion. Now, the CDC redid their policy today, or their recommendations, which is a good thing. They are now saying that quarantines could be reduced to 10 days if there are no symptoms. Now, the state is looking at revising their policies that may impact Kauai's 14-day quarantine rule. I don't know that, but I am suspecting that it would if the Department of Health adopts the CDC's recommendations. The other thing is they recommend 7 days of quarantine with a negative test. So the travelers that are coming in would be able to get a test after 7 days of quarantine, and they could spend the rest of their vacation off quarantine. Now, I saw a couple of people sent me private messages today. Two people did, basically disputing the CDC. And I respect your opinion, but I sure as hell ain't gonna question the CDC's opinion, because that's the medical experts. They have been the hub of all the data from all the states, in fact, from all over the world. So I definitely will give their recommendations some credence unless proven otherwise. Now, it's easy to dispute and say, that's all political. Well, whatever. Look at the data and you make your own conclusions. But the 10 days without symptoms. So in other words, if you come here, you quarantine 10 days, you don't have any fever, you don't have any of those symptoms, then you can leave quarantine. Or you take a test on your 7th day. And if you test negative on your 7th day, you can go enjoy the rest of your vacation. Now, I know there's the argument, well, that's as good as 3 days, or as good as a 14-day quarantine, because no one can come and afford to stay longer than 7 or 10 days. You're right. There is that segment of the travelers that, we will not get. But yet there are still many other travelers that do. Trust me, I worked in a hotel for 10 years. And while the majority of the local residents, inner island residents, won't stay for 14 days or whatever, I can tell you that there is that demographic of travelers that do, and that would be the target. So anyway,
Let me kind of share something with you that I guess not that many people know, but and I guess what I'm about to say is all based on health over risk factors. Okay, when I was in one of the commanders at Honolulu Airport post 9/11, and we started to set up those extensive checks, right? So everybody had to come into the secured area. If someone came into the secured area and for some reason they got through or they didn't get on their flight and we can't locate that person, what the airport will call for is a dump. We secure all the entry points into the secured area, and we push everybody that's sitting, waiting, wherever in the entire, at the time was Honolulu International Airport. We push everybody out. Then one by one, everybody had to come back in. Okay. That was a way to ensure that we didn't have no persons of interest that might, may have wanted to cause some harm. We don't know. But that was our investigative body. That's what we were tasked to do. So when you had the two people that come on the plane, right? Here you have confirmed people that were tasked from San Francisco not to get on the plane, but we understand that because they didn't get on the no-fly list, right? Um, the network, I guess, didn't complete the links because it wasn't put on that list. But nevertheless, my question is, and I'm going to ask you, Mel, when those people landed and they got arrested on Kauai, right? They got arrested on Kauai. Should they have gotten another test to see where they're at? Because I'm going to tell you something. What if they took another test coming in and they came out negative? Then they're going to say, the first test we took was on false positive. So now the question is, what test going to take priority over another? You ran me through the ringer. I took one second test and now it's negative. Which one do you believe, the first test or the second test? So those are the kind of questions. So for me, all I'm saying is the overall picture is Those two people were positive. That's what the story is. Yet, what about the rest of the people on the plane? Were they ever contacted? Did somebody follow up with them? Did somebody ever go find out where they was? Somebody ever follow up to see how many people they came in contact with? Because you can see, when you talk about a super spreader event, right? All it took was one event, and I think it went spread like wildfire. But for some reason, they say that when you're on a plane, it doesn't spread as fast. Come on,
Yeah, it's
please.
the magical unicorn dust. You know,
Yeah,
when you're in an airplane and that white stuff coming down from the top
yeah.
that they say is condensation, it's actually unicorn dust, and that really doesn't.
But, but
That's why every time you come back from the mainland after your 6 hour flight, you catch the sniffles and you're not feeling
yeah.
well. That's the unicorn dust. That's
So
what
the
it
thing
is.
is, and somebody said you just gave their attorney ammo. Like I said, I just inform and educate. If the attorney, I'm pretty sure their attorney would have already thought about that. So it's not like I sharing any top secret news with all of you out there. It's just that if I was an investigator, that's the route I would go. I make the arrest, boom, I test them right then and there. Then I capture whatever the results is. I turn them over as part of my evidence for my investigation. Plain and simple. That's what I would have done anyway.
The bottom line is this: is when you test positive, I don't care where you're at. Doesn't matter what state you're at, which county you're at. When you test positive, you go to isolation.
Yep.
That's the rule.
Yep.
Not quarantine. When you test positive, you now move into isolation, which means you do not come in contact with anybody. You keep your own. You use your own bathroom. If you cannot, then you go stay in a quarantine facility that the state or county has provided. That is what that couple should have done is automatically isolate, and then go, if they believe that they maybe their test was whatever, go get another test.
Mhm.
Go get another test before you get on that plane. And I think that's what the argument will be. Now I know that there
Mhm.
is a question. My wife said saw it on the news today. I didn't watch the news. In fact, I didn't watch any newscast today, uh, interestingly. But that there's a question about, this is a good question, jurisdiction. Where did the crime occur? Was it in San Francisco when they made the decision to get on that plane, or in Hawaii? And that's going to be interesting. That's going to be
How
interesting as far
much
as
how much
prosecution.
you wanna roll the dice? Because they say the fruits of the crime is where the breach occurs. So where did the breach occur?
The breach occurred probably in San Francisco.
I
So,
left my heart in San
so
Francisco.
anyway, that one's going to be a case to watch. It's probably the first case in the country that was ever arrested. Again, Kauai, but something had to be done. I mean, that is so uncalled for.
But the bottom line is this, Mel. We got a lot of law-abiding citizens, right? If measures are in place for the safety of all, just gotta follow them. You break that, then the question gonna be, okay, what else you gonna break, and what else you gonna break, and you keep on breaking to the point that, rules were meant to be broken. I mean, that's sometimes it's something that we laugh at once in a while when we hear it from people. You go, hey, rules are meant to be broken, and I just say, bro, no, we rules are in place so we prevent chaos. You keep on breaking them, we're gonna get this place gonna get chaotic. Don't go do that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, what if you found out that an infected person that knew they were positive sat in a plane, that your grandma had to come back from a Honolulu medical appointment?
yep.
What if you found out after the fact, hey, by the way, Tutu, your person you sat next to in that flight from Honolulu, because you went to Queens or Straub, was infected, so you need to get tested.
Well, this one
How
came
would
from San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but I'm just saying
correct,
the
correct.
principle, because
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
most tutu is not going to be coming from San Francisco, but the threat is there. Whether yeah, it's a bigger threat from San Francisco. My point is that for those that are saying, "Hey, I cannot believe these guys got arrested. They didn't have an intent and blah blah blah." But now, just let's say it was your tutu that sat next to them, and then you found out that I think you would be upset. I
Hmm.
I would be. So
Hey, you know what?
it's one of those things that we're gonna have to watch and as it develops.
You know what? I'm really appreciative, and I want to thank the people out there because I see a lot of good questions, popping up. Because one of the question is going from 72 hours to 96 hours prior to flight. So I think it goes back to what we talked about way before. The longer the gap, I mean, if you're going to take 96 hours prior to flight, okay, I get it. I get it because you can get your results back in time. But you got to be so damn disciplined that 4 days prior to flying, you don't go nowhere because your objective is not to get one clean bill of health and go pick something up and bring them over here with you. I think that's what the whole purpose is. But again, how many people going going share that honesty with you?
That's Mitch Roth, the new the mayor elect for the Big Island. He's jumping into the discussion now, and he wants to extend that. That just gives the mainland person an extra 24 hours to get infected. The bottom line is not the pre-test; it's the post-test. We want to make sure that they're not infected when they get here. Yeah, it's wonderful. See, the whole that's where it's the idea of the pretest was never to make sure you were negative so you wouldn't infect people on the plane, Charlie. It was to get out of quarantine, remember?
Mm.
That was the whole thing was get a test, show us that you're negative so you don't have to do quarantine. It was never, hey, go take a test, make sure you're negative so you don't infect anybody in the plane. It was never about the safety of the people in the plane. It was always about the visitor industry, getting those people here as with the most convenience as possible. That's what that whole thing. It had nothing to do with health and safety. To move them back another 24 hours is foolish, if you ask me, because that gives you another opportunity to collect or get this virus. It's the post-arrival test. That's the one that's going to make a determination whether or not you're safe to go out in a community to prevent community spread, because that's what we try to stop.
But
We're trying to prevent community spread of the virus because that is where the clusters occur. And you're not doing that with an extra 24 hours on the
I
front
tell
end.
you,
You do it at the tail end.
I tell you how we could have prevented all of this from happening. The second post test, if it was just mandatory, all of these problems could have gone away.
Poof,
Yeah, could
poof.
have gone away. Just say, okay, we're gonna make the second test mandatory, right?
Right.
3 days. We'll make the second test mandatory. Not this kind you decide, well, yeah, I'll take it up. No, maybe I'm not gonna take them, you know? Because hey, if you got nothing to hide, go for it. But when you leave it up to somebody to take a test, I mean, how many of you like go dentist and get that sound in your ear all day? Not me. That's why if I get cavity, I try to go as long as I can before the bugger comes so big I lose a teeth. Then I'll go dentist. But when you gotta go take on tests, how many people want? If you would have just said, okay, second test is mandatory, we could have made all of this go away, this problem go away.
You, two sides, pre, post.
Yep.
And that's the only, if you were serious about isolating Hawaii from the rest of the continent
Hmm.
from COVID, that's what you would do. And you wouldn't worry about inconveniencing a
Yep.
passenger.
Yep.
That wouldn't even be in the equation. You see, when you're doing something for health and safety, uh, that's what you do. Yeah, you sit at that table with all the medical experts and you say, what can we do to make sure our residents and our visitors are safe?
Hmm.
Well, we got to make sure it's convenient, though.
You know
Really?
what I found out? A lot of our returning residents on Kauai that I'm very proud of, and I'll say it, I'm very proud of them. Some have taken a post arrival and then on top of that, a second post arrival test just to make sure because they care about the island so much. One of them I talked to, they said, Uncle, third day I took one test. Bingo, I cleaned. Fifth day, I took another test. Yeah, when it cost money, I go, why did you do that? Because grandma and grandpa live with me. That's the reason why. You see. So I guess if you leave it up to somebody to take a test, unless you got grandma or grandpa living with you, probably you're not gonna take on second test. That's why you got to make them mandatory. But I'm so proud of this person that actually told me they took two tests. Now the question is, how many people are like that? I mean, it's funny how if you're faced with a situation, you go into that response mode, right? If you have one kupuna living at home. But if you don't want no kupuna, just you or just you and your girlfriend or you and your spouse, or even your spouse and even your girlfriend or boyfriend, however you're situated, you care enough that, hey, I'll like make sure I'm not bringing home anything to you, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's just like I remember in the department, we go take tests, right? We studying for traffic reconstruction. I remember some said, "Oh, I had a degree in this, in math was one of my majors." And I glad they took it because math was not one of my majors. I can tell you that much. Well, everybody at night was goofing off, having a good old time on a big island with the classes. I was in a classroom trying to study because I never understand a damn. I didn't even know how to use one damn scientific calculator. I had one of the ones you turn in the 5 box ups from from the kind of Cocoa Krispies, and they give you one small pocket calculator. But the point being, you're gonna have moments where you're gonna be so sure of yourself, and you're gonna get burned. You always got to be prepared. And I'm pretty sure, these visitors that came with that came without their test in hand, that didn't upload it yet. I'm sure it wasn't their intent, but I'm sure they believed that they were going to be negative. So by the time they landed, the test came back positive. And I bet you they were shocked. Because why? They had no symptoms. They were confident. They didn't come into contact with anybody who could have had the virus. That's why they don't know how they had the virus. But the test results came back positive. And those are the kind of things they gotta watch. That's all. They gotta watch that.
Well, we're gonna see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I know there's a lot of questions about what are the benchmarks for this 14-day quarantine to be lifted. Derek, that question was asked of him this morning, and basically it's looking at all the data from not just Kauai's numbers. Obviously, it's the virus coming in, right? It's the what's happening on the West Coast. If the West Coast is burning up, if I told you guys last night, my son said the Oregon governor increased the restrictions in Oregon because it's getting bad. California is getting bad. If those states don't get control of the virus, then I do not see the quarantine being lifted. So I don't know. I think it's a moving target, and the benchmarks is very difficult because the way this thing is reacting throughout the country, and the majority of our travelers come from the West Coast, from California, San Francisco and LA and Seattle and Portland, and I think the medical experts, the Dr. Berman and her colleagues are going to assist with letting the mayor know at what point is it safe. As far as the tiers aren't going to change. The tiers are going to stay in place as long as the numbers dictate. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, how come we haven't changed the tiers yet? Because we haven't reached the threshold that was set by the governor's proclamation that you need to have this active case numbers, daily case numbers for a 14-day period, a rolling 14-day period. So that's going to take a lot of cases. So it's independent, though. It has nothing to do with the quarantine. The quarantine is simply for the visitors to make sure that they are not bringing in the virus. And because the system that is in place right now isn't working. and that is proven pretty much daily. We had what, four more cases today? Four more cases. I think three of them were travel related again. I mean, it's, and the fourth one we don't know. They suspect it's community spread, but they're still doing the investigation. But that's three more today. It's every day. It's becoming every day. And you see the difference, Charlie, when you look at the state's number. It said Kauai had one, Kauai had zero, Kauai had whatever. It never jives with Kauai's number because Kauai is reporting the active cases. The state, if we had four cases today, three of them travel related. If those people tested, or if they tested on the mainland and they, then it, and they got their results after, they still got to get their quarantine. They come in here and they, for some reason, decide to take a second test and it's positive. They don't count it in the state's numbers. So it's kind of deceiving or misleading. But the bottom line is the Kauai number is the Kauai number. The fact that we had four today is the number. We had four new COVID cases today. And out of those four, three were travel related. And that is the dilemma I think this county is in, is because it seems to be happening every day. And then the community spread, it gets a life of its own, depending on the close contacts that our community people got. So
Yeah.
it's a horrible dilemma to be in, but we got to protect our people. We got to protect our people. And I understand a lot of people say,
Yeah.
well, people going to die, people going, they're going to commit suicide, or and all of these things. But I, again, my challenge to all of you that say that is, what option should the mayor have taken? What option should the mayor? Are you guys suggesting that he should have just left it as is? That's the only other option he had. So that's what my question to those people are. You please back up the protesting, back up the opposition with a solution. What would you, if you were the mayor for the day and you had that authority, what would you have done? Understanding that you got to get the governor's approval, and you had already been rejected twice. That is the question.
Okay. And
KITV reported one case. Yeah, KIT, all the news media
today,
reports just
today's
what's.
today's report is 2 days ago. Today's report is for Monday. Okay, so
Mhm.
folks out there, what was released today is for Monday. It's 2 days behind. I would like to say, first of all, again, thank you so much for those of you that's joining us on this beautiful night of nights. I know the weather is kind of warm. Uh, Unreal surf today, not sure, on the island of Oahu. I've been watching the report, especially Brother Guy Hagi, who just loves to surf. But man, it was pounding. But I see there's a little discussion going on our feed right now. Someone is inserting politics. Please, we're having a nice time. We're just trying to find solutions for for those out there, peace of mind. Okay, and so it doesn't hurt to share your manao. What you feel. Just share it. But let's just keep the politics aside, because it's gonna stir up some negative comments. And right now we're doing so well with the comments, and I get a lot of good ideas, and again, we've said this before, and we said it many times, way way long ago, and that is, when it first started off with, the situation is not a HIPAA situation if you just let us know where the virus is. Why? Because if people get bit by sharks, they have no problems releasing the beach they got bit at. And then, as you can see, over time, everything moving forward, they started to tell us, especially they released one mistake when they told us, okay, whatever, whatever of you, whoever of you went through this, basically it was a strip club. They had them on the news. I can tell you what, I was just telling myself, what bozo gonna raise his hand and go, oh, me? because I'm pretty sure you told a wife you had to work late that night. So I get it. I get it. I used to work liquor department too on Oahu, so I've heard all the excuses. But hey, that's not my life. You deal with your spouse the way you gotta deal with. But it's those kind of things. So now we're coming up to a point that what options were made available. What options were made available. And the sad thing about it that's painful, as humble as Mayor Kawakami is, he made the proposal and the governor made him wait forever. You notice that, Mel?
Yep.
It wasn't one immediate decision. No. The governor just let him, stewed a little while and came up with a no. Okay. So that's one down. Let's go to plan B. And like I said, maybe about 10 minutes ago, this all could have been prevented if the governor said, okay, mandatory second test. Because look now what the lieutenant governor is proposing. He's got a second test. And he said even the state will pick it up, which they said couldn't be done before. And so when I look at when I look at tests, I figure, well, if Kauai wants to do it, there's no harm in asking a second test to be paid for by the visitor, or even be paid for by the returning resident. I mean, if I went, I would pay for the test. If it meant that the so-called imaginary APB will take that bullseye off my back to release me, so I can walk in public free and clear with no hassles. Because I don't want to walk around people thinking like, hey, Uncle Charlie, he might be infected. He never take one test. No, I'm gonna take a test if I were to travel. I am gonna take a test.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, question about Mayor Kim. How did Mayor Kim? Why was he able to do the second test on the Big Island? It's because it was not tied to a quarantine. The governor approved it because it was not the guest, the traveler, the incoming traveler or resident would not be forced to quarantine. The governor made it very clear, and this goes back to Charlie, what you were just saying. The governor said he would not support, as it relates to having the traveler pay for the test. The governor made it very clear that he was not going to support any further restrictions or requirements on the visitors. He said it right out of his lips on the news, or in one of his interviews or press conferences. That was a reporter asked him. So that is the problem. He will not approve anything that's going to inconvenience, which was shocking that he approved the 14-day quarantine for Kauai. I kind of think it's punishment, because I just think he thought maybe Derek was trying to upstage him, but whatever, the politics, keep that crap out of it. The bottom line is we got to keep our people safe and healthy. But that was the reason. Mayor Kim, their travelers were not required to quarantine before the test. They come in, they get a test, they go. If they're positive, then they go take a second test or whatever, and then they deal with the positive. But the governor was quite comfortable because it wasn't going to require a quarantine on a visitor. And then Tyson brings up a point which I agree with him 100%. And this virus is bad. We know how bad it is. Everybody's on Kauai, you 14-day quarantine. But we have what they call essential workers coming in every day and exempt from quarantine. Now, let me just explain the two different types of quarantine. If you're claiming the quarantine, the exemption, because you're a critical infrastructure employee, that's how the proclamation is worded. If you work for a critical function in whatever, if you work at a grocery store and you're getting sent over here to do work for the day or for 2 days, you qualify for a critical employee or critical infrastructure. The critical infrastructure exemptions come from the governor's office, comes from the state of Hawaii. The county has a modified travel exemption or modified quarantine exemption. That is for people that if you need to go to Honolulu for the day for a medical appointment, if you need to go to visit your doctor, if you have a specialist and you need to go up there for the day, you apply for a modified exemption, and that means that you are able to go for the day and come back home and be all right. Now, I I agree with Tyson that employees, whether it's construction employees, whatever the hell employees are coming into Kauai to work, unless it's some kind of really truly critical infrastructure uh, like the utility company, that there's only one guy in the state and he ain't on Kauai and you got to fly him in. That's critical infrastructure. But if you're a laborer, a roofer, a mechanic, or any kind of tradesperson that we have the ability to fill those positions here with our local employees that are not working because of COVID, that's what you do. If you got to go get temporary hires from the local crew, from the bench, from the union, from whatever the hell, you get the local people to work. You should not be flying anybody on that airplane unless it's absolutely necessary for critical needs only. I agree, Tyson, 100%. It's kind of hypocritical to come out and say everybody on quarantine, but if you can get one exemption from the governor, you can come in and you can be exempt. Yeah, you got to go to your workplace and back to your hotel, whatever, but you still, there's a possibility of bringing that virus, passing it on to your coworker who may be a local resident. Uh, so I agree. Unless it is absolutely critical, it is absolutely necessary, and you cannot fill that position with a local employee, you shouldn't get no damn quarantine exemption. Zero. That's
Actually,
my
what they
position.
should do is, my suggestion would be, if you get a critical exemption and you flying in from Oahu to Kauai, one of the requirements is you must wear a PPE at all times: mask, shield, Tyvek suit, the whole works. Because that's what Lindy Coit, Representative Lindy Coit, did when she flew from Molokai to Oahu. She suited up with one of those headgear. She said she looked like somebody from Mars, but she wasn't taking no chances. I think if somebody did that, I would look at that person as saying, wow, that person is serious, because they don't want anybody looking at them as if they could give, if they could get the virus, they could give it to somebody else. They want to make sure that they're protected and they're protecting others. That's how you can tell when somebody's really serious. I
Yeah.
said the kind of stuff that I get really miffed about is when they say, "Yeah, I got on critical exemption." You see them at the supermarket buying, a couple 18 packs of beer, and you know,
Yep.
all of that
Uh,
stuff.
I know I inquired a while back about people that were doing inventory control or whatever the heck. When you go to the store and you see all those people with the same uniform and they stay with their little handheld computers and they're doing all the inventory. Is that critical infrastructure during a pandemic? In my opinion, hell no. No, 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 no. That all can wait. That all can wait. Like I said, if there's a tower on the top of Haupu Ridge that needs repair, and the only guy that can fix it is living on another island or on the mainland for that matter, then yeah, because that's vital for emergency services. That tower is used to transmit police radio signals and all of that. That's critical. Inventory? Nah, nah. We have on Kauai. I know this for a fact. We have people on unemployment. They have CDL licenses. They're equipment operators. There's the laborers, masons, all of these things that are waiting to go work. And uh, there is no construction project here. And I know a lot of people say, well, the affordable housing projects are vital and are important. I agree. I agree. But that guy that is pounding the nail or taping the wall or putting up the roof is not it, we get those guys here on Kauai, and vice versa, and vice versa. So if you want to construct, you want to build, you want to do what you do, you want to continue, then go utilize the local workforce. again, I sound like I'm repeating myself because I am, because I think that's so doable. I know people can debate either way, but that is that if it, you cannot disagree with Tyson when he says that. It's just not fair to have to claim an exemption because you're supposedly critical infrastructure. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Oh, and one more thing, Charlie. You know, last night we blocked a troll, um, and I don't mention names because I don't like upset nobody. But his name was Malcolm Wildman or Wilderman, and so just tying on to Charlie's comments earlier, as I'm not always, I cannot always catch all the comments, but what I'm seeing tonight is very good. But I did see some back and forth, and that's all we ask, guys. We ask just be professional, be polite, be courteous. We welcome all sides of the issues and the debates. We encourage that, but in a professional way. And last night I did see, in fact, the last couple nights I did see some. Uh, I didn't see it at the time, and I'm trying to be more cognizant. So I apologize for looking down because I want to nip it in the bud. But I really, and Charlie will tell you, I have absolutely no problem blocking anybody from this broadcast because I want to make it comfortable and safe for everybody to come on and join and feel comfortable in sharing their manao. And if we have people that cannot for whatever reason control themselves, then you get blocked and you'll never be able to watch us again. Not that we are the bomb, but we want all of you guys to enjoy and be able to share on here. So anyway, that's all I'm
You
going to say
know,
about that. Thank you.
I will say this, and this was told to us about maybe 5 months ago when there was a lot of chatter going on and bashing left and right. We did see our viewership numbers drop because of that, because some people had written to me offline on private messenger saying that they apologize for not joining in, they'll view it after because they felt rather intimidated by some of the I guess the language or the targeting. And that's the reason why we want everybody to enjoy. I mean, it sounds like two local guys talking story here on this Wednesday night, but we're talking about uh, local issues. Okay, we're not talking about mainland issue. We're talking about local issue, how it impacts us. And we there's been a lot of debate and a lot of deliberation went into the the decision that was made by the mayor. And that's why last night, someone asked me, "Oh, Charlie, you're really, I was real heavy in concentration because I was thinking to myself, okay, what other options could there be? Is there something that maybe we missed?" Okay, because I'll be the first one to tell you, if I felt that there was something that was missed that maybe we could have tried, I'll call up the managing director. I'll call up the chief of staff. I said, "Hey, try propose this to the mayor." And but the thing is, you got to give them the reasons why. I never give any ideas without the reasons why I think it would work. And then if by reason of deduction you say, well, this cannot work because of this cannot work because of certain provisions by that governs the county, that cannot work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it. But you don't propose anything to anyone without some kind of uh, idea or understanding. And I think that's what happens with, I know our governor is a smart guy, but I believe wholeheartedly that when Mayor Kawakami gave his proposals, he gave the ideas behind it. Why? With some of the data to back it up. And I don't know who is advising the governor, but like the managing director said, the governor has the last say. And Mayor Kawakami being the way he is, he said, okay, he said his piece. What else can we do? So again, we were left in this predicament. But I did see one comment. Last night we had Miss Angela Keen on with us, and yes, she was very upset. There was uh, a socialite that came in vacation that broke quarantine, She got an exemption. The apparently the AG's investigator. I'm reading what was written here. AG's investigator had to let this person go. So again, when you read stuff like that, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What's good for some is not good for all. And here we are, especially residents of our beautiful state. We're trying to abide by everything that's given to us, God given. And it seems like a lot of things are being taken away. And, I see why people are upset. But we don't compound problems with problems. We try to find a solution, and hopefully, if it makes sense, maybe, and we bang the drums loud enough, maybe somebody will hear it. You know, we try to find a solution. And we can't do it alone, gang. That's why a lot of times, a lot of the solutions that we see as a solution was actually mentioned by you folks on this show. We're reading through the comments, go, hey, that's a good idea. Wish I thought of that. So, I just want to let you know that.
One of my good buddies just posted that we live in the most dysfunctional country in the world. The UK approved the Pfizer vaccine today. I would bet that they got the application at the same time that the US FDA got it. Our FDA will make a decision on December 11th. Oh gosh, why can't our FDA speed up the process? I'm with you, Doc. I'm with you. So, and by the way, if we say, I see a lot of you folks put a lot of trust in Charlie and I, but if we say something, we misspeak, we mislead, or you believe what we're saying is not factual, please let us know. You know, we go based on the resources that we have and the content that's provided to us. We do a lot of research, we do a lot of fact finding. But if we say something that doesn't sound right, it's perfectly normal or okay to let us know. Um, Absolutely, let us know. Okay, because that's what the whole objective here is, to get the information out to you all. That's
That
kind of
you
what we
want
want
me.
to do.
I'd be the first one to retract anything if somebody corrects me, because I don't like go through life being known as a doodle boy
Or
or kolepuka.
hey, I got some good news today, though, Charlie. I got some
and,
very good news.
and
That in
what is it?
fact
What is that? What is that?
we are having on our show. We just finalizing the dates. It's tonight. It just came in tonight. It was right before we went on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Two very special guests that will be coming on separate nights. Might even put them together. I don't know. But Dr. Jerome Kim from the International Vaccine Institute in South Korea and our good friend Miniko. I wanted to get an update on what obviously with the vaccine. So Dr. Kim will be able to do. I mean, they are the ones that have all the information. And then Miniko will update us on what's happening in South Korea. And I think she's always so informative. So I sent both of them emails today. I spoke to our good friend Kiala today, Kiala Wolf, and she kind of hinted, it was very subtle. She said, Mel, you should get Jerome Kim back on the show. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? She's right. Kiala is right. We need to bring Jerome back, or Dr. Kim back, because so much has happened in the vaccine and what's going on. So he did agree to come on. We're coordinating schedules as we speak. Of course, in Korea, they're 5 hours behind, but they're tomorrow, right? It's Thursday there, but it's earlier. So I am looking so forward to getting Dr. Kim back on, as well as Miniko. So we'll have them on hopefully this week, if not very early next week. And I think I scared Charlie away. Or he went to go get some Snickers. He went to go get some Snickers. I know. Watch. I know this guy like a book.
Well, everybody from day one knows what I love, and it came in, and you're almost right. But looky what I got.
Oh,
That's what's on the menu for tonight after this show. But right now, for all my friends, yes, it's yours truly, Uncle Snickers. It's here. It's here. Oh, now where did Mel go? Oh boy, I tell you, this
Wait,
is like
wait,
gold. This
Charlie.
is like gold. This is like gold.
Wait, Charlie.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, man. Yin and yang, and we are so much alike, and yet we're so much different. But look,
Oh,
now this was not planned, ladies and gentlemen. This was not planned at all.
yeah.
This Mel went to get carrots.
Hey Mel,
Mel
put yours
went to
down.
get carrots.
Mel, put yours down. Watch mine, okay? When I pass them into your screen, then you take them from me. There you go. Now you take them from me. There you go. But you coming from the opposite direction, brother.
Okay. Unbelievable. But you know what the truth of the matter is, people? Because you're right. Oh, it's not a fun size candy. The truth of the matter is my wife, Patsy, went to the store Saturday,
Yep.
and she saw this in the store. She saw this orange rolls in the store, and she knows that this is Charlie's favorite. So she bought it for Charlie. This is actually, we're going to give them to Charlie, but um, look, now, Raylene said she got them in her fridge. But yeah, as much
Yeah.
as I want to pop this open right now and have this with some coffee or hot chocolate, hmm, Patsy just said it's not mine. So that's not going to happen. But
You know,
anyway,
this is in my emergency kit. Okay. But I found out you gotta cook this thing. You know, can eat them raw. It ain't gonna work. So it's
no,
no longer.
Charlie, you
Eh?
can eat it raw. You can eat it raw. It tastes delicious raw.
Okay, you eat it raw. I ain't.
Well,
Woo. But,
anyway,
gang, I tell you, from day one, we shared all our insight with the Snickers, and we never gonna let you folks forget it. And you, in fact, one viewer tonight said, "Uncle Charlie, Mr. Snickers, yes, here it is." And I tell you, it's salad next, or Melissa, salad next week, Uncle Charlie. Yep. She says, for every snick I eat, I gotta eat one salad. But guess what, sweetheart? Tonight, Uncle got some Caesar salad waiting. So I'm gonna have a nice big Caesar salad. Yep. But I wanted to focus in on one thing, and that is I really want to say mahalo to all of you. I've seen many of you. I go by Poipu. I see a lot of the workers walking to their cars. I go to Lihue, especially coming out of Safeway, but a county building. I see a lot of people using the mask. I just want to say thank you, because you're making the load that much easier, because you're actually taking stock in your own safety and wellness. And I wish there's still some people, maybe, and once in a while I forget. I just walk out of my car and I forget. I go, ooh, darn. I say darn it, but Uncle don't use that kind of words like darn it. But this is a family show, so I'm gonna say darn it, and I'll go and grab my mask and put it on. But then there's some that they're just oblivious. They like, hey, I don't need to wear masks, or they put them on and they use them as when chin guard. They walk into the store, the bug on the bottom of their chin. If you're gonna do that, why not just put the damn mask over your eyes? So when you get punched in the face, then you're gonna know what the mask is for. Put them on your face, put them on your chin. Okay. But I just want to thank all of you out there. Thank you so very, very much. I never thought in a million years seeing somebody wearing a mask. See, now I feel guilty because for many years when I flew on Aloha Airlines, I used to always wonder, how come the Japanese always wearing masks? But you know what? And this was back in the late 70s, early 80s. But I gotta say this, they knew something way back when. And just imagine if we went on that road. Maybe things could have been prevented. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so thank you very
So
much,
true,
Ken.
man. So true. As in my early days in the service, I going through Korea, in Korea, at the airports in Japan, a lot of people wore masks back then, and you always thought they were kind of weird.
Mhm.
Didn't you, Charlie? Like, oh my God, what the hell? What did you think? You thought they were sick.
Hmm?
Automatically, you think, oh, that poor thing must be sick.
No, I
But
thought they
actually, they
were,
were.
I thought they were escaping because they just went rob a bank. That's what they thought.
But in essence, they were. That was their culture. That was their lifestyle. We're going to protect each other, and that's kind of the new world that we're moving into. So I agree, man. Thank you, guys. Where you, man? I see a lot. I don't that 86% statistic that they
Yeah,
keep saying that Kawhi. I see way more people wearing masks than not. The problem though is when you see those groups of people, at the at the in the garage parties or whatever the hell they're having. Those are the ones that concern me because no one wears masks when they're around people that they're comfortable with. So like I said, in our office, man, it's mandatory unless you in your office, you wear a mask. You go bathroom, you wear your mask. Justin Kohler, our prosecutor, made it very clear. If you leave your space, you wear a mask, and it's just normal now. It's
yeah,
just automatic. The mask is right there. You get up off your chair, you put the mask on before you walk out. It's just, you know, Patsy says that's how it is at the courthouse as well. So, but that's what we all got to do. We all got to get into that mindset. It's going to take a while, but that's just kind of where it's got to go. But anyway, um,
I,
thanks for
I did.
joining me tonight, Charlie.
Huh?
I said, thanks for joining me tonight, man. Appreciate it.
No, it's we go to the bitter end, man. A lot of people. I know we're just reiterating some of the things, but because from day one until where we are today, we've pretty much exhausted as many guests as we can have on with us. And it's not like we haven't tried. I mean, I've like Dr. Kim, we tried several times and we finally got him. Murtaza, we tried several times and finally got him. Um, Dr. Fauci, I must have sent like about six to the NIH, you know, um, the health the health institute that he's one of um, the hot shots for, and I still haven't gotten a response. But I understand their time is important. So hopefully one day somebody will grace us, and we'll probably have to do something because of the time difference, and we'll try to bring them on. And then before we transition out, once the vaccine comes on board, we're still going to be talking about COVID, but we're probably going to be scaling back a little, and we're going to start transitioning to newer subjects like the economy, like the rebuilding process. You know, um, and one of the things that I wish I could say, and but I can't because of confidentiality. But I will say this, that if I go in and clean a school, I cannot mention a school, but if I go and clean a school, I told myself I'm gonna do the best job possible, because when the kikis go back to school, I don't want no kikis being sick. Nobody should go to an environment that's laden with possible dangers. Okay, and that's the way I felt when back in the day when we had Vice President Quill when he was on his detail. We took him up to Haleakala. We made sure along the way, we made sure the entire path was safe for him. Whether you voted for the person or not, that's your job. So I just want to make sure that everybody out there, you folks, always stay safe. You always have our number. You have our messenger. Just drop us a line. If there's something that you would like us to talk about and share with everybody else, by all means. If there, I know some of you had mentioned, or try getting so and so on, and we try our hardest. And sometimes we hope and pray that we can get maybe some inside emails, like personal emails, so we can write to the person to hopefully they can respond to us. Because when you write on a government email site, it probably goes through spam, and they don't get it. So, but we'll try to do our best on that as well. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, I know I'm kind of behind in some of my responses. I know, I do work during the day, so it's oftentimes it's not easy to get through all the comments, but I will get back to you guys. I know some of you have put some pressing messages today, and I will get to them as soon as I can. But yeah, we appreciate you guys reaching out. We'll continue to try to bring as much current information as we can to you folks, as always.
Vaccine.
And oh, I did want to say we did invite the Chamber of Commerce to come on, Mark Perriello, and a lot of these organizations require approvals from boards or whatever. So we did reach out to them so we could get their perspective. I still want to get them on.
Hmm.
We do want to share perspectives from all sides of the issue. So
Yes.
it's not like, I know people think that we just try to one side this thing, but it's not the case. We try to bring on whoever we can to share all different viewpoints. So anyway, we're still working on that, and hopefully we can make that happen shortly. So anyway, Charles.
Well, I behind me I have my wife put up a beautiful Christmas tree. You know, right now it's so hard to get, but it's just this year we felt with all the negativity from COVID, it was a time to just be thankful for what we have. We have each other, and we're going to celebrate Christmas this year, even though our children are far away. But I want to let my kids know that Daddy loves you. To my grandchildren, Papa loves you, and Grandma loves you too. And hopefully, when this is all over, you'll get to stay with Papa. We'll go into the hotels, and you get to stay with Papa. We're going to have a nice time. Okay, but it's been a while since I've seen my grandchildren, and I thank God for FaceTime and everything else that allows the ability to communicate with them. And that's it, brother.
Right on. Well, thank you. I just want everybody to see my Christmas tree as well. Um, it's I put
Wow,
the star on. I put the star on myself, Charlie. I'm so proud of myself. I put that star on myself. Um,
that's a nice tree, brother.
it is a very
The,
nice
the
tree.
thought, it's a thought that matters. Because if
Yeah,
you wanted my real opinion, oh no, cannot. The show is not meant for that. But it's the thought that matters, brother.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's so different. It's like almost like again, it's the first Christmas that we're not spending with our kids, so it's difficult. But we'll make it work. Christmas is gonna be unique this year. Of course, the gifts went out or are going out, but it's gonna be different. But we'll make it work. It'll be pretty cool. We'll FaceTime or Zoom or do something like that. But it'll just be different. But you know what? It's at the end of the day, we're gonna be in a much better place. We'll be in a much safer place as long as we all do our part. So thank you all for joining us. Oh, go ahead, Charlie. I saw you
Uh,
inhale like you're ready to.
no, I just hope and pray, when the vaccine does come out, there's positive and negatives. There's those that don't want to take it. We understand. At least thank God we have a government that will not force you to take that vaccine. But we're looking at it very, very closely, and if it means that we can live freely without having to worry. But I tell you one thing, I'll take the vaccine, and I'm still going to use my mask. And hopefully, you folks decide. Okay. And Mel, thank you for recognizing that inhale. So whenever I like say something, I just go, and then you're gonna know that I give a message.
Yeah, no, like I said, bro, we know each other like the backs of our hands, man. It's incredible.
Yep.
Uh, the flu vaccine is out. So if you guys haven't had your vaccine,
Yep.
go get your flu vaccine. It's free, or get to your doctor and they'll get. I mean, they're just so anxious to giving you a flu shot. So if you haven't done so, go get it done.
And
All right.
The
Huh?
Pinomia shot. The Pinomia shot.
The what?
Pinomia. You ever had that?
The,
Pinomia. Pneumonia shot.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get that too.
yeah. It's time to go. We see you guys tomorrow night. We love you guys. God bless. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
Okay, man.
All right, brother. Aloha. Hang on. I gotta find the right button over here. Aloha.